What's going on, everybody? It's Stock Picks by Tim, and in this video I wanted to go over 5 stocks that I'm definitely watching right now, and I'm also going to show you what the overall market's doing. If you look at TradingView's heat map, it looks like we're pretty flat, barely green in a couple of stocks, but small caps are actually rallying pretty nice, and it could be due to the fact that they've just been selling off a bit for the last couple of days. Well, I'm going to get into a couple small caps I see some great deals in. I'm also going to get into a few larger caps as well, so let's get this rolling. And first off, let's check out TradingView's heat map and just kind of see what the overall market's doing. And as I said a second ago, we're relatively flat today. This could of course change by the time this is even uploaded. This could change. That's how quick the market can move. But you'll see that we've got a little bit of green, but overall it's a very flat day. And that's funny because small caps are actually rallying. We've got some small caps as much as 10% up, but to put that into context, the last couple of days those same stocks have been down anywhere from 5 to 10%. So we're going to go over a couple that I see great deals in, but first off, let's start off with a larger cap, and that's going to be AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. Now hopping over to AMD, you'll see that we have been pulling back a little bit. We came down in this kind of channel, broke out of it, just been trading sideways. This just created a new recent low. It did hit 91 and bounce. It might try to find 90 as a support and bounce from there. You could definitely set a stop loss there. That wouldn't be the worst idea. But you'll see that we do have a point that we bounced off 90, and we did have a previous resistance right at 90. Maybe where we try to establish a support. Looking out at AMD multiple years, I definitely see it under $100 as a great time to average in. I'm personally just watching this one. I definitely love adding it when it's in the 80s, and I've done this 3 or 4 times, gotten in the 80s, gotten out around 100, if not around 90s, made a little profit, and I'm looking to do the same. When AMD comes down towards the 80s, if it does, I will pick it up. Now, if it doesn't, oh well, there's definitely other deals out there, but that is what I'm looking for AMD. I do tend to swing this one from around the 80s to around 100, if not a little higher, just depends on what the market gives me. To reiterate, I basically see it as a great time to add if you're looking long term, and if you're not too worried about potentially seeing it come down to the 80s, maybe even lower. It may not come down all that much more. On the 6 month, it is definitely nearing oversold, but zooming in a bit, we can definitely come and test some lower levels before we go and bounce. Alright guys, now I wanted to talk about Facebook or Meta. I did mention this the other day. It came down to about 159. I'm watching this. I want to actually see a bounce, and then I will get in and swing it upward. But the MACD is looking bullish. The RSI is looking bullish, both rising, although volume has been coming down a bit. I am watching this channel, and one thing you could always play with Facebook is if we did break this support, you could definitely scalp a put, or if you're long term, obviously you'd likely be wanting to add if you're not worried about lower lows bringing lower lows. I do think Facebook is in a decent place to add. I haven't added yet. I'm just kind of being patient, seeing where it starts going, seeing where it kind of establishes a base. I don't think this is it. I think it will try to establish one more base here, if not fail it. But let me know what you think Facebook's going to do. Are we going to just bounce right back up, break out of this top, or are we more likely to bounce to this bottom, either bounce from it or break that bottom? Let me know what you think. Alright guys, these next few stocks are going to be smaller caps, and then the last one is going to be a total Uno reverse card, and this first one's going to be Indi Semiconductors, and we do have a couple dates for you to watch out for. So first off, this one we might not be able to access because it's with registered attendees, and I don't know why I can't read attendees without thinking about chicken tenders. But one date you definitely want to watch for is going to be Thursday, September 1, and you can go to the investor relations page to access this, and this will be from 12:30 to 1 p.m. Pacific time. And then we've also got September 8, not sure if we'll be able to access that one yet, but definitely mark these down, keep an eye on it. So looking at Indi here, you'll see that we have been in this uptrend. We did break it seems like it's going to find it as a resistance and break down. We'll see where it goes, but it definitely looks bullish to me. It definitely has that upward momentum ever since right in the beginning of July, and I do think this upward momentum could continue. But one thing to look out for is we do have kind of a potential head and shoulders. There's the head, there's the shoulder, maybe there's the shoulder. We had one that kind of played out here. There's a pretty weak head and shoulders, and this definitely played out, came down all the way to its base. So just watch out. It might do the same thing, which could potentially bring it down to this $6.50 area. I'm not really worried about Indi. I definitely believe in them in the long term. If you look at their earnings, the revenue continues to impress. They continue to add more manufacturers on their list of companies they support with chips, and I definitely believe in Indi for the long term. Looking at the MACD, it is still bullish, and the RSI is still rising. And we've got the same thing on the 6 month, but zooming out even more, it is definitely possible that we come down and test some lower levels. The more you zoom out, the more you see that we are somewhat neutral, and the more you zoom in, the more you'll see that we're getting towards that overbought territory. Keep an eye on Indi. It could definitely retrace, test some lower levels, but I am bullish on the long term on it. I do think it's great for DCA. I'm currently completely built out, so I'm just kind of watching it. I would potentially add some right in the $5 to $6 area. Not saying it'll get there, but if it were to, I will add. So next up, I wanted to mention Mttr, and I really haven't added to this one for a while. It's just been kind of a falling knife. I stopped talking about it for a bit, but it did break out of this downtrend, and since then it came from about $3 all the way to almost $8. Now it's back at about $4.50. That volume is dropping. I would wait to see where this starts leveling out. I think personally that it can definitely come and test this 430 area, and this could be its support. It did have a previous resistance there of 3 times. It's very possible if we do come farther down, we're going to test this like 430 area as a support and bounce. Now the MACD is bullish with the RSI rising, so I personally think this one definitely has some room for a little pop. Now one good thing with Mttr, if you're trying to just play a quick swing, is they did just report earnings August 10, so you don't have to worry about that catalyst coming up for quite a while. You'll see that their revenue is somewhat flat, if not just a slight increase over time. Quarter over quarter, we had literally like a $2 million, $3 million decline, but you know, looking at the trend, it is slowly on the rise in terms of revenue. Now, how I would play this one in a swing is I would watch for a bounce of this 430 area, set a stop loss right around like 420 or so, and just let this 430 bounce, get in, set that stop loss, ride the momentum. So keep an eye on Matterport. I think it's going to test this $4.30 area before bouncing. I could be wrong. Next up is going to be Nio stock, and this one is in a downtrend right now, and this has been going on since about the end of June, so keep an eye on it. I do think it can continue down, but it does seem like it's trying to establish a support right around this previous $18 that was a resistance until we broke out of it. So I would watch for 18. You know, keep an eye on this. If it does approach 18 and break, we're definitely likely to test some lower levels, but I do think looking long term, it's pretty good to add to it if you're comfortable with buying into a Chinese ADR. But of all the Chinese stocks, this is one that I do have a position in. I haven't touched anything else. I did get in and out of Alibaba with a very, very small profit, got lucky on that, but I do like Nio's potential for the long term. They expect profitability somewhat in 2024. They are expanding to Europe and eventually to US. They do have a headquarters in San Jose, funny enough. I really should go there. I'm not that far away, but definitely like Nio. If you wanted to play this on a short-term trade, you would look for 18, a bounce of 18, stop loss somewhere around 17, high 17 area, and that could be a potential great low-risk trade. But I do like Nio for the long term, and I do think it's a great DCA. I am kind of watching it because we are in a downtrend. We can definitely continue down, break that 18, test some lower levels. But that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and take it easy.